time on one ranch. So it's pretty dire. We're looking really hard. I think I've got enough hay located to get us through the winter. Fortunately, we did have a few spring rains that brought the grass on our winter ranges. But those of us who don't have winter range are in a bad way, right?
Yeah, I can hear a little one in the background there. I don't know if that one belongs to you or not, but that makes me, your grandson, makes me wonder if the family's had some sleepless nights. This is your livelihood we're talking about.
Needless to say, we have, yes. But, you can only worry about things you can do something about. So our goal is to just make a game plan to move forward and get through it. Another year like this is almost unsustainable for our folks. It's tough.
Have you ever seen anything like this in your time ranching?
The last big drought we had was in the early 2000s when hay went up to $230 a ton. It's now at $250. So this one's pretty ugly. My average feed budget's going to more than quadruple. It's going to be tight.
Have you had to trim your herd back because of that, just to pinch pennies?
We've trimmed a little bit, and we're planning on probably trimming some more unless we can make things work. That's a catch-22 because right now the cattle market's very high, which looks good for a cattle rancher in theory. But when you can't afford to feed an animal, it doesn't matter how far high the price goes, you can't afford to feed the animal.
Kirk, we were hearing from the mayor there who said that folks in town are saving their bath water to water their trees, that sort of thing. I imagine as you gather in church on a Sunday, you're all talking about this. I mean, how's it affected the community?
Yeah, we're praying for rain each week, and each morning and each night, we get on our knees and pray a lot. And we have seen a few little storms which have helped keep some of our trees alive. Nobody's lawn's alive. It looks pretty dire. All the grass is brown and crackled up, and waiting for the water to get warm. When you're in the other end of the house from the water heater, you store it and take it out and try to keep one tomato plant and a couple of trees alive. That's just our reality right now. It's crazy.
I'm thinking that praying for rain is a tough strategy. You got to do what you got to do, right? How concerned are you long term? Because conditions across the West haven't looked good for years now.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. We love this lifestyle, and if we were all in it for the cash dollar, we'd get out and do something else. I'm sure of it. Our long-term plans, we're working really hard with the state legislators and the national legislators to try to get some red tape moved so we can get some long-term reservoirs figured out so that we don't find ourselves in this situation again.
Kirk Christiansen, a rancher in Emery, Utah, he and his family are praying for rain as this drought across the western United States continues. Kirk, best of luck to you and your little grandson there. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much. You have a good one.
If you want to see the effects of President Trump's redistricting efforts, one place to look is Nashville's historically black neighborhood, North Nashville. It's already been represented by white Republicans, but now it's being divided into two districts, with both leaning to the GOP. And that new division reminds residents of another time they say the government weakened their political power. WPLN's Mariana Bacallao reports.
At a block party in North Nashville, State Senator Charlene Oliver is talking to voters and other movers and shakers in the community, like County Judge Howard Gentry.
Hey, Mr. Gentry. How are you?
How you doing? I just want to make you smile.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Dancers and rappers perform while organizers speak out against Tennessee's mid-decade redistricting plan. Oliver tells me the community is still close.
The Republicans can split a district on paper, but they can't split our hearts. They can't divide us.
Republican leaders in the legislature sanctioned Oliver for her protest during the redistricting debate. They say she broke decorum when she stood on her Senate desk with a banner that read, "No Jim Crow 2.0.
It's unfortunate, but it's also a telltale sign where they split the districts. Look at where we are. We're on Buchanan Street.
The two sides of the street are now in different congressional districts. Their old district was already mostly white and represented by a Republican, but the map didn't split up the neighborhood. Oliver says this new split echoes another older dividing line that carved up this historic Black arts district. Interstate 40. In the 1960s, the construction of this highway cut through here, displacing thousands of people and hundreds of businesses.
That area held considerable political power.
That's LaRotha Williams, professor of African American and public history at Tennessee State University. He says the construction of I-40 stifled the influence of Black institutions like First Baptist Church Capitol Hill that trained many civil rights leaders.
But with the interstate, a lot of these centers become displaced because now a lot of those folks that went to those churches, they might not be going to these churches anymore.
They could still vote together, but that's ending. This spring, the Supreme Court weakened one of the crowning achievements of the Voting Rights Act. That paved the way for the legislature to divide the neighborhood. Jamel Campbell-Gooch, a community organizer in North Nashville, says that's going to make it harder for people here to be heard.
If people don't know who their representatives are, then they actually don't know who to target or who to work with to improve their community.
For example, rapid gentrification has raised housing prices here. That's not as big of a concern in rural areas that are now in their same congressional district. But Republicans say having different viewpoints in a district makes lawmakers consider the region as a whole.
Because it's not just one section of issues that they have to be concerned about. It's how it impacts each of the layers of their constituents.
That's Tennessee GOP Chair Scott Golden. Now, he says Tennesseans will have more candidates vying for their votes.
They went from a member of Congress that wasn't opposed and there wasn't much, primary action.
He says redistricting energized local Republicans.
So the Republican faithful, the Republican parties immediately got geared up and they were really excited about it.
Back at the block party in North Nashville, activists like Tequila Johnson are determined for the community to be heard even with redistricting.
If you black, we got your back. All right? That's what it's about. Give it up for that, y'all. If you black, we got your back. Period.
A few feet away from her, there's a voter registration drive. And people are registering together, even if they'll be voting in separate congressional districts. For NPR News, I'm Mariana Bacallao in Nashville.
You're listening to Here and Now.
Every long-form story on a topic that piques your interest, every music feature that introduces you to a new artist, every discovery you find thanks to this public radio station is supported by listener donations. That support includes cars, trucks, and SUVs. I'm A. Martinez. Donate your vehicle now, and the next time you hear something great, you can shout, "Hey, my car did that." Here's how.
Go to radioiq.org and click the vehicle donation banner at the top of the page.
On the next Fresh Air, the story of a Cuban immigrant who showed up for a routine immigration check-in last October and left in handcuffs, bound for a tent camp in Fort Bliss, now the largest immigration detention center in the country. We talk with New Yorker staff writer Jonathan Blitzer about life inside Camp East, Montana. Join us.
That's Fresh Air, Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. on Radio IQ.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WVUR Boston and the Marotra Institute at Boston University, hosting the Is Business Broken podcast, featuring conversations with academics, industry leaders, and politicians. More at ibms.bu.edu. And Schwab, offering the Schwab Teen Investor Account, where teens can gain hands-on investing experience. It's co-owned by parents and teens, so parents can monitor the account while teens can learn how to manage money. More at schwab.com.
It's Here and Now. Well, Peter, how about that heat? Here in Boston, the heat index is in the 90s.
Well, I don't have a ton of sympathy for you, to be honest, because I live in Arizona.
Fair, fair. Here and Now, resident chef Kathy Gunst feels both of our pain, knows how to cool down with cucumbers. She's here with new recipes. Hey, Kathy.
Hello. I'm in Maine, and it's boiling hot and very humid.
Well, go eat some cucumbers, right?
Yeah,
I
mean, it's kind of the perfect answer for these kind of conditions and this time of year because they are plentiful in farmers markets and many, many gardens as they're quite easy to grow. They are light, refreshing, and actually cooling.
So, Kathy, some of the varieties of cucumbers grow pretty well in the heat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about a variety and a recipe that is cool.
Okay, well, most of the varieties of cucumbers are interchangeable. One of the two interesting facts I learned doing these recipes. One is that aside from being crunchy and green and highly adaptable, cucumbers contain 95% water, which is why they're so low in calorie. They are considered like a superfood full of vitamins, fiber, antioxidants. The other thing is that a cucumber is actually a fruit and not a vegetable. But how about we start with something really cooling to drink? And this is a cucumber lime Kool-Aid, cool, C-O-O-L. You make a lime simple syrup. You boil water with a little bit of sugar and a lot of lime zest. And this lime syrup you could use in a million different summer drinks. And then this gets back to the cucumber being mostly water. You take a cucumber and you put it in a blender or a food processor, and you would think it just turns to mush, which it does.
I would.
But yes, it does. But also, there is quite a bit of liquid that's released. You then take that so-called mush, put it in a fine sieve strainer over a bowl and let it drip, and you will have cucumber juice. And I mean it. It is cucumber juice. So the way you make this drink is you add that cucumber juice to a tall glass, lots of ice cubes, add some of the lime simple syrup, a wedge of lime, some ice, maybe a thin peeling of cucumber, and then you can drink it like that. You could add seltzer or rum, gin, vodka, up to you.
I thought you might be going there.
Goes. Yeah, sure. Lunch or dinner.
I want to weigh in real quickly on the variety of cucumbers because in Arizona, you can grow Armenian cucumbers through the summer, which is amazing in this heat, actually. So I've had bumper crops of those before, even in the worst of weather. Okay, you've got another one. It's called Quick Cucumber Refrigerator Pickles with Garlic and Chili. Why don't you start with telling us what a refrigerator pickle is?
A refrigerator pickle is a pickle that happens quicker than you can believe. It actually so-called brines in the refrigerator, and the pickle happens within 2 hours. And I kid you not. I like to use Kirby cucumbers for this, but you could use English cucumbers, any variety. This is what you do. For all those who are thinking, yeah, sure, like I have extra time to make a homemade pickle. Actually, you do. You take one of the cucumbers, you peel them and thinly slice them, or don't peel them. You put them in a jar with some fresh dill or dill heads, if you have them in your garden, a garlic clove, a chili pepper. You add some kosher or canning salt and some apple cider or white wine vinegar. You shake the jar, you seal it, you shake it, you put it in your refrigerator, and 2 hours later, you take a bite of a crispy, crunchy pickle and you say, my God, that woman was right. It is a pickle.
We always think you're right. So just one other quick recipe, cucumber and labna open-faced sandwich on rye. That's an ingredient a lot of people may not know. Tell us how it enhances the flavor of cucumbers and what it is.
Well, it's a Middle Eastern favorite. It's basically what they call a strained yogurt or a yogurt cheese. It's thick and tangy. You could substitute with a Greek yogurt, but it's quite easy to make. And on the website, I can tell you how to make it or buy it. This was inspired by all the gorgeous open-faced sandwiches I saw when I went to Denmark. You take a slice of rye, dark, or a Danish whole grain bread. You spread some labne or Greek yogurt on it. You add some chopped dill and chives, some very thinly sliced cucumbers, and then this is really a trick. You grate some lemon or Meyer lemon zest on top, and the lemon, when it hits the cucumber, it turns into summer in your mouth. It just brightens and lightens, and that's it. That's all there is to it.
Fantastic. And of course, I'll remind everybody that right now, Experts tell us make sure you wash your fresh produce to avoid an outbreak of cyclosporiasis. We've been talking cucumbers with Here and Now resident chef Kathy Gunst. We'll have all of Kathy's recipes at hereandnow.org. Kathy, thanks as always.
Thank you. Stay cool.
Here and Now is a production of NPR and WBUR. I'm Tiziana Deering in a clammy Boston.
And I'm Peter O'Dowd in Phoenix. It's Here and Now.
Funding for Here and Now comes from Loomis Sales, committed to helping institutional and individual investors achieve their financial objectives, combining in-house research and risk management to create tailored investment strategies for every client. More at LoomisSales.com.
Every morning, your neighbor turns on Radio IQ while making coffee. A teacher listens during her commute. A small business owner tunes in at lunch. These moments add up to something powerful, a community connected by curiosity and informed by quality journalism. When you become a corporate sponsor, you're not just reaching listeners. You're becoming part of the fabric that holds our region together. Be part of something bigger. Email WVTF corporate support at vt.edu.
Connect with Radio IQ on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and we'll keep you up to date on the latest ticket giveaways, special programming, and more. You can also visit us and stream live at radioiq.org.
You're listening to Radio IQ on WVTF Roanoke, WRIQ Charles City, Richmond, WVTU Charlottesville, WVTW Charlottesville, WVTR Marion, WISE FM Wise, WQIQ Spotsylvania, WIUR Lexington, WEHC Emory, HD3 of WURV Richmond, and on 92.5 Richmond and 94.9 Fredericksburg. Radio IQ, a listener-supported community service of Virginia Tech, on your smart speaker and online at radioiq.org.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross is underwritten by the Davis H. Elliott Company, providing energy delivery services to
Invite all who so desire to stand for a moment of silence and to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon and welcome to our meeting for July 14th, 2026. Regular meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday at 2 p.m. Public hearings are held at 6 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday of each month. Deviations from this schedule will be announced. The meetings are broadcast live on RVTV, Channel 3, and will be rebroadcast on Friday at 7 p.m. and on Sunday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Board of Supervisor meetings can also be viewed online through Roanoke County's website at www.roanokecountyva.gov. Individuals who require assistance or special arrangements to participate in or attend Board of Supervisor meetings should contact the clerk to the board at 540-772-2005 at least 48 hours in advance. Please turn all cell phones off or place them on silent. Item A, opening ceremonies. Roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Here.
Mrs. Hooker?
Here.
Mr. North?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Here. Item B, request to postpone, add to, or change the order of the agenda items. Are there any requests to postpone, add to, or change the order of the agenda, fellow board members?
No. None.
Mr. Kaywood?
No changes, Madam Chair.
Mr. Lubeck?
No changes, ma'am.
Item C, proclamations, resolutions, recognitions, and awards. 1, recognition of Planning Department staff in collaboration with the Public Library, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department, Economic Development Department, and General Services Department staff for receiving a 2026 Virginia Association of Counties VACO Achievement Award for Placemaking Program. Joe Lurch, Director of Local Government Policy and VACO. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Shepard, members of the board. Joe Lurch here with VACO. Very glad to be here this afternoon to present this award. Just a little bit about VACO for some of your constituents who might not be familiar with the organization. We've been around since 1934. We represent all the counties in Virginia, mainly through our advocacy efforts at the state level, some at the federal level. We also have education programs, member service programs, kind of our three-legged stool. We developed the Achievement Awards in 2003 as a way not only to recognize the great work that's being done by our members, but as a way to maybe replicate that. Because I think a lot of the solutions that you come up to, innovative solutions to problems, are things that can be borrowed upon by many of the other VACO members. So I'm proud to present the Achievement Award today. This is the 24th Annual Achievement Awards program. We've received 103 entries this year in 2026, and 40 winners were selected from 26 counties. So it's truly a competitive program when then less than 40% of the entrants get recognized. So Roanoke has won the award 21 times, ranks 6th all-time amongst all the award winners, and actually won the Best Large County Achievement Award in 2019. And has won an award in 8 of the last 9 years. In fact, I think I was here a couple years ago to give out several awards. Just a little bit about the judging criteria. There's kind of 4 things that the judges look at. One is to offer an innovative solution to a problem, a situation, a delivery of services. Does it promote intergovernmental cooperation within departments, within jurisdictions, with the states, with federal, with regional? Does it provide a model that other local governments can really lean on? I think that's really the chief part of the program. And then does it offer, is it based on programs from another public or private entity, but represents an innovative approach customized by local government? So I know Isaac Henry here is going to speak more about the specifics about it, but I'll just touch on why I think all of this, those criteria apply to this. Your placemaking program was really looking at, all right, this is the service we want to provide our citizens. And I thought it was really interesting how you involved all the different departments, you involved other jurisdictions, regional cooperation, some private sector cooperation, and how you really, it was more than just putting signs up. It was identifying art and placemaking. And I noticed, you know, the pins that you're all wearing with the hiker up on McAfee's Knob, which I was telling some of you earlier, I used to love to hike there. I love that view up there. You know, the Love Works installation signs where you involved, I think, the local industrial arts center in actually, you know, providing some workforce training and getting those manufactured. I thought it was really innovative in that you modified your sign ordinance to exempt any public art from the sign ordinance, which is a way to kind of really promote that. And you really involved the public with the kind of the design. I think there was a competition in looking at the design and in the implementation of this. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Isaac. He'll explain a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and do some photo op with the pictures. So thank you.
Thanks for having us, and thanks to the Virginia Association of Counties for the wonderful honor. Joe did seem to understand our program pretty well. He explained a lot of it, but it you know, required a lot of interdepartmental cooperation. You know, the planning department is sort of the central thread in all of it, as far as we're like the one county that's, or the one department that's involved in all of it, but we also involve the public library, Parks, Recreation and Tourism, General Services, and economic development departments pretty extensively. So there are 4 key elements to this program. First is the recent installation of a lot of new gateway signs around the county, as I'm sure you've noticed, with the Virginia's Blue Ridge branding. Alex Jones from Economic Development worked a lot on that, both in his previous role in the planning department and in his current role in economic development. And also, you know, that involves Parks, Recreation and Tourism a lot, as they're the ones that, you know, are charged with maintaining the landscaping around the signs, even if it's not, you know, outlined in their official duties. So we were able to install 16 new gateway signs between 2022 and 2026, with 1 more to come when the Diverging Diamond interchange is finished down here on 419. And we also added the Virginia's Blue Ridge branding and moved around those hiker signs a little bit to fill in some of the gateways that had, an old gateway sign still. Secondly, we, completed a couple of murals on storm drains at public libraries last summer. We involved the public with a design competition that really the public library ran. So we have Jim Blanton, Tony Cox, Bailey Vidovich, Caitlin Gills, and Sarah McKnight here from the libraries. And they all, played a huge role in putting on that public design competition. So we selected a couple designs from the public and hired local artists to paint murals on the storm drains at the libraries. And also, General Services was involved extensively in that because we had to get their sign off on, doing the murals in the first place and what might be appropriate locations and, how they might be maintained. So we have Josh Campbell from General Services here with us. We have the Lovework sign, which, economic development worked a lot on that. Alex Jones. Alex, I believe, designed the sign in-house, which is pretty cool. And then we had a local company created which provided some training for some local high school students. And lastly, the Arbor Day celebration, where we plant a number of trees every year. And we planted 9 trees last year at Glenville Elementary School, 10 trees this year at Mount Pleasant Library. Some of you were involved in that. Ms. Shepard, thank you. Mr. Kaywood, thank you. And obviously we had to coordinate a lot with the libraries on that. And Parks, Recreation, Tourism, waters and maintains those trees, so it wouldn't be possible without them either. We have Eric Vest here from Parks and Rec. So. And lastly, I want to thank the long-range planning staff because they've been involved in all these projects. Sarah Gilmore, Skylar Camberlink, and Ross Hamas. So it was really, a team effort involving a lot of different people in a lot of different departments. So thanks to everyone involved. Thanks to the Virginia Association of Counties.
Do any of my fellow board members wish to comment? Go ahead.
So I just want to congratulate all the interworking and teamwork, really, that it took to make this happen. And it really does. It's a good look for Roanoke County. I really love the idea of having these signs around our gateways. Yeah. It's really a great and welcoming effort, and just appreciate all you've done. Thank you specifically, Isaac, for all you've done to head it up. So thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Zucker.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Isaac, I just want to say congratulations. Those signs are beautiful.
They are.
They really look attractive. Mm-hmm. The font's big enough you can read it at high speeds. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I was just wondering if there was flock cameras nearby. No, they're beautiful. They just look great. I'm waiting to see what the last one is there near the diversion diamond. And Joe, thanks for coming up. Those awards help bring continuity between the members of VACO, I think, and a little competitive spirit there. And, I'm going through the supervisor certification course right now. And just to have all those different counties near you, hearing ideas and different things, it's really cool. So, thank you for coming down there and coming up with innovative ways, to get us to continue to learn amongst each other, using awards or certifications or board meetings, whatever it is. Thank you.
At Norfolk Southern, we used to say at the predecessor railroad, we give a green light to innovations, and that was something that I think in 2019, when I stayed in the county, we alluded to, and Roanoke County certainly does that, and this is just but one example. And Joe, 21 awards, I think it is, number 6 in the state, and I hope to see us move up in the years ahead. So be thinking about, enjoy this moment, but be thinking about next year's entries that have yet to come to mind, and let's keep this momentum rolling on. Congratulations to your leadership on that. Thank you.
Thank you both. I really appreciate it. And I do love the gateway signs as well. And I also really enjoyed my day at Mount Pleasant Library that day. So that was a lot of fun, and the kids enjoyed it, as well as I think all the employees and everyone that showed up. So thank you very much, and I wanted to invite any staff that would like to comment. No? Well, I will invite you all to move to the front with the board members for a photo. Yep, I am. I was trying to find my shoes. Took them off. This back just here. For real though. Get you on fire, that would be a problem. That would be a problem. You might need to turn sideways.
Big smile. Say placemaking.
Yeah.
Thank you for the free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Joe, thank you again.
Thank you.
See you, Joe. Joe, you want to hike back with your mom, but next April, we'll talk if you're interested.
Wouldn't that be great?
I don't know if I'll be able to win it.
Because VACO will have their meeting here next year, in April.
Item D, second reading of ordinances and public hearings. Number 1, the petition for Economic Development Authority of Roanoke County to rezone approximately .81 acre zoned C2C high-intensity commercial with conditions to remove proffered conditions from the property located at 3306 West Main Street, Catawba Magisterial District. Philip Thompson, Director of Planning, for a second reading and public hearing. Hello, Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. So we have 2 public hearings this afternoon and 1 this evening. The 2 this afternoon are part of a program we talked about with you all late last summer, about going through, identifying properties that have old, outdated proffers on them, and then contacting property owners who may be interested in that, and then using the EDA to go through the process of actually removing those proffered conditions. And the process that you go through is to go through a rezoning process. So, first one is here located in Glenver, off of West Main Street, at the intersection with Shawnee Drive. The address is 3306 West Main Street, a little less than an acre at .8. It is a used car dealership, and the request is to rezone the property to remove the proffered conditions that are on the property from a 1987 rezoning. And you'll see, as these come down, a lot of them were mid-'80s. The '80s, there are a lot of proffers on these properties. Again, just an aerial view of the property. You can see where the used cars are on the property. A couple photos. This is taken from West Main Street. Just looking at the building that's there. The frontage along West Main Street. Again, the side of the building where there's a garage that they do some of the work on those used cars. The back of the building, it kind of does slope off to the rear, the property that's behind it. And this is on the other side of the building where the customer service parking is, and this is the entrance off of Shawnee Drive. Again, this was rezoned back in 1987. There were 6 proffered conditions, and so this request would remove all of these conditions. And again, the first one is the most problematic, is that the property can only be used for the sale of used automobiles. That's it. No outside storage of inoperable vehicles or junk vehicles. It'll be developed in accordance with the concept plan, which it was. An additional point of access from Shawnee Drive will be constructed, which it was. No billboards will be constructed on the property, and only signage will be single letters on the building frontage. The other point to note is that with a lot of these rezonings, they were done prior to our current zoning ordinance that's in place, and our current zoning ordinance that's in place deals with a lot of the development issues associated with the property. So, for example, we have a cap and replace program for billboards. You can't you can't construct a new billboard without removing another one. So you'll see a lot of proffers, and I think the next one will have this as well, is about billboards. So, the existing zoning is C2C, high-intensity commercial with conditions. It is surrounded across West Main Street is to the north is C1, it's vacant C1. To the south is I2, heavy intensity industrial, and I2C. To the east is C2, and then to the west is C2 as well. It is in the Glenver Village overlay district, and so they do have a variety of appropriate land uses, which include commercial uses, general retail shops and personal services, limited industrial, mixed use, et cetera. And there are certain land use determinants that make up the Glenver Village, and the proposed rezoning is consistent with those and consistent with the Glenver Village land use designation. So there was a public hearing last Tuesday. There were no citizens who spoke on this public hearing. The Planning Commission did discuss the development history of the property, the proffer conditions and proffer removal project process, the benefits of removing outdated proffer conditions for future development and redevelopment opportunities, that the property is located on a high traffic volume corridor, the future land use designation and surrounding zoning. And there is a recommendation in the Roanoke County 200 plan, in addition to, I believe, the board strategic plan that recommends removing outdated proffers from commercial and industrial property. So the Planning Commission does recommend approval of the rezoning to remove the proffer conditions from the property. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do any of my fellow board members have questions?
I'll just make a statement. 39 years old, I guess. Some of these proffers are coming from that long ago. This was done in 1987. We had a lot of change over those 39 years. New zoning process, new zoning ordinance, strategic plan specifically is calling out for us to be looking at these issues. So I appreciate the time and effort that you took, Mr. Thompson, to bring this to our attention. And I'll leave it at that for now.
I'm going to second that too. I think it's a bold effort. It's a tedious one. It's like tariff cleanup or code cleanup. It's no fun or glory to it, but this is setting the table for some future development.
Growth.
And by golly, since 1987, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, when I explained to the Planning Commission, number one, when I first started with the county, we used to have two separate uses for automobile dealership. We had a new automobile dealership designation and a used automobile dealership. Well, those have now been combined into one, number one. And two, it's a by right use now in C2, right? So that's one point. The second point I would make is one of the kind of ancillary benefits of this program is when we do contact the property owner, we do get to then meet that individual property owner. So Lindsay Webb has been going with me when we first reach out and talk to them. And, you know, she gets her foot in the door about what's your needs from a business standpoint, what's your future needs, what, you know, potentially also what's going on in the case. And in this case, the property owner, Mr. Ellis, also owns the adjacent property. And so at some point, if there is an opportunity for redevelopment, while it is 0.8, there's another acre and something adjoining to it, so there's about 2 acres right there. That's part of that. And as we're going through the Glenver Center plan, one of the things is to hopefully improve the aesthetics of West Main Street. And so with additional commercial uses that could go there, that could be a positive direction in seeing some of those implementation take place.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Mr. Blunt, do you want to speak? Let's try to get David's attention.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here this afternoon representing the Roanoke County Economic Development Authority as the petitioner for the 2 land cases at 3306 West Main Street and 5999 Franklin Road. The Economic Development Authority Board of Directors does endorse both of the rezoning applications for today and believes that these rezonings will better position these properties for future commercial development, as well as they also are very pleased that they're able to offer this type of partnership program with property owners in Roanoke County, and believe that they will be able to bring more of these type of parcel removal projects to you in the near future so that we can continue to provide additional opportunities for commercial development already in some of our commercial corridors. Mr. Thompson did a very good job of explaining this particular case, so I don't have anything else to add at the present time, but I'd be happy to answer any questions about the EDA's program or this particular land use case if you have them.
Are there any questions for Mr. Blunt?
No.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak that has not signed up to speak? Okay, I'll close the public hearing, and is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion, and this is a fairly benign housekeeping, if you will, rezoning, just to get rid of some old language that will really open up the potential for this property. And because of that, I would like to find that the proposed rezoning request is consistent with the purpose and intent of the county's adopted comprehensive plan, is good zoning practice, and will not result in substantial detriment to the community. I therefore move that we approve the rezoning request as it has been requested.
I will second that motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item 2, the petition of Economic Development Authority of Roanoke County to rezone approximately .20 acre zone C2C high-intensity commercial with conditions to remove proffered conditions from the property located at 5999 Franklin Road, Cave Spring Magisterial District. Mr. Thompson, this is for the second reading and public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Again, this is a similar request to remove proffer conditions from the property. The property is located on Franklin Road, heading south to Franklin County, just south of Yellow Mountain Road, and I think above Back Creek Road. The address is 5999 Franklin Road. It's 0.2 acre. It currently is retail sales. The use, and again, to remove the proffer conditions from this property from a 2003 rezoning. So there's an aerial view of the property. You'll see the approaches of 220. That's looking north. This is looking south. This is the business. Abide currently is in that building. And again, just some photos of the building itself. There is an access way adjacent to it, the rear of the building. So again, this was rezoned in 2003. 3 proffer conditions. The use of the property will be restricted to the sale and storage of the following: Oriental/Persian rugs, area rugs, and flooring materials and antiques. Signage shall be limited to 140 square feet, and no off-premise signs shall be installed. Again, existing zoning, it is C2C, or surrounding it is AV, Agricultural Village Center. To the north, to the south, to the east, there is some AG1 further off 220. The same with west is Agricultural Village Center and AG1 as well. Again, the future land use designation for this corridor is core. Core is our highest intensity commercial land use, and so it is consistent with the removal of the proffers would be consistent with the core future land use designation. Again, the Planning Commission discussed this last Tuesday. There were no citizens who spoke. Again, they talked about the very similar things about the development history of the property, proffer conditions and proffer removal project process, the benefit of removing outdated proffers. It is, obviously 220 is a high traffic volume corridor. It is consistent with the future land use designation, and they discussed the surrounding zoning, and again, implementing the recommendation in the Roanoke County 200 plan. So the Planning Commission does recommend approval of the rezoning to remove the proffer conditions from the property. And I'll take any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Thompson? Mr. Blunt? No? Are there any questions for Mr. Blunt? No? Okay, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that has not signed up to speak that would like to speak? Okay, I will close the public hearing, and is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I would move that we would approve this rezoning application. I think we all recall that staff had provided us a fairly lengthy list of a lot of properties that we're going to try to remove these old conditions. I think that's a great idea. I've been an advocate for it. I think it's, I would rather have uses permitted by right everywhere we can have them, not have a lot of these restrictive limitations on them. I think it is important, though, historically, to look at this stretch of 220 as you're heading from Clearbrook down to Franklin County. Historically, the county changed its comp plan and designated all of this as core after the county and the Water Authority entered into the agreement to extend the water line with the Western Virginia Water Authority down to Franklin County. And the county had a lot of hope that that extension of public utilities would jumpstart commercial development in that 220 corridor as you headed south towards Franklin County. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. I think one of the big problems is, yes, you have water, you don't have sewer. And that's the fundamental limitation and restriction of what occurs here in this part of the county. As you recall, looking at the maps that Mr. Thompson showed us, like I said, this is all core, number one. Number two, it is surrounded by agricultural village. And the concept of AV is to try to have some kind of limited commercial development in this area. And I think that is very consistent with the core designation. The only bad part is, I guess, this is a C2 district, sort of like a little island surrounded by all sorts of other more limited uses. But I think this is a great idea. I can't wait for the next category of economic development petitions that we have before us, that we can get rid of some of these restrictive conditions. And I think all of you who read the history of how this goes back decades. So I think this is a great idea. It's consistent with core. It's good zoning practice. Won't have any detrimental effect on any neighboring properties. I would encourage everybody to vote for it. Thank you. So moved.
I'll make a second on that. Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item E, appointments. Do any board members have an appointment that has not been given to the clerk and included in the board report for agenda item E?
None.
Is there a motion to approve the list of appointments set forth in the board report?
Move the motion.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item F, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by one resolution in the form or forms listed below. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion? Is there a motion to adopt all matters on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Only one, Madam Chair. Just want to highlight item 12. That is where we are accepting a grant of funds for school resource officers. And I want to emphasize again
Absolutely.
how we are attempting to protect the children in our schools. We have a grant there for $328,811 from the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. We have a match, but we can get 8 school resource officers. And I think that's important that we remind our citizens of how we try to protect our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Just a note, Madam Chair, that there's over $500,000 in grants through various actions in this consent agenda. So taxpayers need to know that Roanoke County is fortunate enough to get these grants to help offset costs and keep services at a high level and a lower cost. Just for note, thank you.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item G, citizens' comments and communications. This time has been set aside for Roanoke County citizens, county property owners, and county business owners to address the board on matters of interest or concern. While the board desires to hear from all who desire to speak, the agenda item is limited to a duration of 30 minutes total. Each individual speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to speak. Are there any citizens wanting to address the board that have not submitted a form? Okay, right now I have a form submitted for Ann Rogers. We appreciate all who have come to address the board today. When your name is called, please come forward and state your name and address prior to sharing your comments. Each person is permitted to speak up to 3 minutes. At the front of the podium is a light system that tells you how much time you have remaining. When the light changes from green to yellow, please share any concluding remarks. When the light changes from yellow to red, your time has ended. While the board desires to hear from all who desire to speak, we ask that speakers refrain from repeating comments already made by others. Good afternoon, Ms. Rogers.
Greetings. My name is Ann Rogers. Is the volume okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm the Section 106 Coordinator for the nonprofit organization Blue Ridge Environmental Defense League. And since 2015...
Do you mind stating your address for the record?
Okay. 6347 Back Creek Road, Boones Mill, Virginia. And that's in the county.
Okay, thank you.
Since 2015, I've been working with the citizens of Bent Mountain on developing the case that large contiguous expanses of the Bent Mountain community are eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. This work involved extensive interviewing, surveying, mapping, research, writing, and editing. It required the active involvement of a significant number of residents of Bent Mountain to identify historic structures and to help me understand the historic significance of the landscape features on Bent Mountain. And some of my most important Bent Mountain collaborators are with us in the meeting today. Grace Terry, Kathy Chandler, Bruce and Mary Beth Coffey, Robin Austin, and Mert Reeves. The work also required extensive collaboration with Virginia Department of Historic Resources, whose senior architectural historian, Mike Pulis, taught me the basics of documenting historic significance of properties and landscapes as required by the Commonwealth of Virginia. The result of our work has been the identification of 2 rural historic districts on Bent Mountain, which have been found to be eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places by the Virginia Department of Historic Resources. These districts include the Coles Terry Rural Historic District and the Bent Mountain Apple Orchard Rural Historic District. And I've emailed the clerk 10 documents which are offered as documentation of this eligibility for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. So moving forward, my plan is to collaborate with the members of Preserve Bent Mountain, the folks residing on Bent Mountain, on 3 items. First, obtaining registration of the Coles Terry and Bent Mountain Apple Orchard Rural Historic Districts on the National Register of Historic Places. 2, obtaining recognition by Mountain Valley Pipeline LLC that the Swan Compressor Station Alternative Site 4 is located inside the Bent Mountain Apple Orchard Rural Historic District. It's in the district. And then 3, seeking the support of Roanoke County Board of Supervisors in our efforts to obtain Mountain Valley Pipeline LLC's recognition.
Ma'am, if you
that
don't
the
mind
Swan-
wrapping it up, the 3 minutes has ended.
Okay,
Thank you.
all righty. And I'll
Thank you. Item H, reports. Is there a motion to receive and file the reports that have been included with the agenda under item H?
Move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Item I, work session. Work session with board regarding the 2026 sessions of the Legislative Assembly with Peter Lubeck, the county attorney, and Eldon James, our legislative liaison. Momentarily, the board will recess to the third floor for the work session and closed session. However, before doing so, I'd like to move that the board go into closed session upon completion of the work session. Item J, I move to go into closed session pursuant to 2.2. Do I have to read this one now?
Yeah.
Okay. 3711A5 of the Code of Virginia for discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities to the community. The board will discuss potential business location or expansion in 5 magisterial districts. Is there a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Radford?
Yes.
Mrs. Hooker?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. The board will now recess to the third floor for the work session and closed session.